Welcome to another episode of Finding Wendy. I was thinking we needed a theme song for our podcast, but anyway, I'm your host, and welcome. I'm thrilled to have everybody back here listening, and I hope you've been enjoying our podcasts. And I'm here with a very special guest, and back again is Alison Pizanie. Yay! The author of The Regain Remedy. Behind me, there. Nope. The book is behind me on my music stand, since I'm not playing very much on my horn anymore, so I might as well have a book display on my music stand. So she's the author of The Regain Remedy. Alison's expertise lies in using intermittent fasting as a tool for achieving permanent weight loss after bariatric surgery. Now, all right, friends, before we dive into today's episode, here's a quick reminder. While we love sharing tips and stories about intermittent fasting and post-bariatric life, this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. We're not doctors, so make sure to consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, fasting routine, or health plan. Everyone's journey is unique, and your health always comes first. Now, let's get to the good stuff. So today, Alison's here to answer some burning questions from her Facebook group, Regain Remedy. So she has a Facebook group too, and everybody should join. And I'm even more excited to share that, again, Alison has agreed to be a regular guest on this podcast. We're going to have clapping noises in the background. So let's dive into those pressing questions. Thank you so much for joining us, Alison. And
thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
I think it's amazing, and I'm really, really glad that you're here today. Just remind everybody just quickly where you're calling in from.
I'm in New Jersey, in the southern part of the state.
You're quite close to New York, actually, right?
I'm very close to Philly and about an hour and a half from New York.
Oh, much closer than I am here in Toronto.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. Alison, your Facebook group has become a wonderful resource for people exploring intermittent fasting and bariatric surgery recovery. I've experienced a weight regain. You experienced a weight regain, and you and I are both now practicing intermittent fasting. How long have you been doing this now, the intermittent fasting?
4 years.
4 years. Wow. I am not 4 years. I'm closing down on 4 weeks. So
That's
we have
amazing.
A rookie versus a pro. So what's the first question we've got from the Facebook group?
Yes, I get a lot of questions, especially from all the new followers. So the first question is always, how do I start? How do I choose a fasting length and an eating window length? So it's an amazing question. Obviously, you need to know the basics before you get started. So I always say to kind of start on the conservative side. So a lot of my members have had bariatric surgery. So you don't want to over restrict. That's the last thing you want to do. So we often start with like a 14-10 window, which is 14 hours of fasting and a 10-hour eating window. It really depends on what you're doing currently. If you're eating from the minute you wake up at 6 a.m. all the way through midnight, you're going to cut it down a little bit depending on like what you're doing already. And 14-10 is a good average. Then every week you can kind of shave off an hour of your eating window until you're around a 16-8 protocol. That's like a 16-hour fast and an 8-hour eating window. And just keep in mind, we don't want to over restrict, so go slow. Stay at the 16-8 for about a month and, listen to your body and see how you're feeling.
So when you're saying a 16-8, give an example of some clocks. Like if you were to say your last meal ends at 8 p.m., when would your fasting window or your eating window open?
Well, I'll tell you what a really popular protocol is, and that's like somewhere right in the middle of the day where you're eating like between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. If you're stopping at 8 p.m. at night, then you're not going to eat again till noon the next day. Some people find that to be a little bit of a stretch first thing in the beginning of the journey because they're used to having some creamy coffee with sugar in the morning, and to go all the way till noon, it's a little bit of a far reach. So if you start at 10 a.m. and then you stop eating after dinner at 6 p.m., that'll give you like a great 16-8 protocol.
Okay, great. I'm just going to take a sip of water. I've got my carbonated water. I bought finally a soda stream, so I'm because I'm fasting right now. My fasting window opens at 2 p.m. because I'm doing the 19-5. All
Awesome. And
right.
I have my empty, which is my hot plain water,
Mhm.
and I'm still fasting and I'll open around 1 o'clock today as well.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, so let's move on to another question. The clean fast. What can
Yeah,
I do during the clean fast? What exactly is it, and how does the clean fast work?
so the clean fast is what you're doing when you're not in your eating window. You want to make sure when you're not in your eating window, when you're in your fasting hours, you're going to be having a clean fast, which is no flavors like herbs, nothing that has a sweetener or anything in it. We don't want to have an insulin response. So let me back up a little bit. What you're going to focus on is plain water, plain coffee, plain tea. Could be carbonated if you want it to be. You can kind of mix it up as you go through your fasting hours. I find that to be helpful. Like if I get a little wave of hunger, I'll switch to a seltzer and then go back to hot water or ice water. We don't want to have any flavors coming in because we don't want our body to think that we're going to be starting to eat. So even if you had like a 0 calorie sweetened beverage, your brain is going to think that you're going to start eating soon, and it will actually give your body an insulin response in preparation for that food coming in. And we want to keep our circulating insulin really low during our fast so that we can get all the metabolic and health benefits of intermittent fasting,
Yeah, I
which
had made
is
that.
accessing stored fat. That's the most important part.
Exactly. And I'd made that mistake in the very beginning where I infused fruit or vegetables in my water and to give the water a little bit of taste. And that's a no-no because that's not clean fasting. So again, any kind of taste, but coffee does have taste and tea does have a taste. So how is it that that is not triggering the brain to think, oh, I'm getting food because I'm getting the taste of tea or coffee?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm so glad you asked it. So, black tea and black coffee have like bitter profiles, taste, and it really seems to be fine with the clean fast. You know, if you were to wear a continuous glucose monitor or do like a little finger stick to check your blood sugar, you're definitely not going to be having a response from those bitter flavors that you're ingesting.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next question. What do I eat? What should I eat during my eating window? Okay, let's all run to McDonald's.
You can eat whatever you want. You can eat whatever you want. But, this question is so common and people want to be told what to eat. They want me to spell it out for them, like open your window with this, eat this many calories, whatever it is. You can choose to eat whatever you want. Just focus on whole, nutritious foods and lean proteins. Think about all those classes you took when you were having your bariatric surgery. Think about how they taught you to eat. They taught you to have lean proteins, lots of vegetables, complex carbohydrates. Just stay away from the packaged foods. And when you're fasting and you are ready to break a fast, your body is ready to absorb all these great nutrients to fuel yourself, to fuel all of your energy requirements. So make sure you're having some high quality foods in your eating window. But I'll never tell you how much or what exactly because it has to be foods that you love and that love you back.
Yes, and read the labels, I would say. If your package has an ingredient list that is approximately 13.5 miles long, you don't want to eat that. If you're looking at having some chocolate, which I do indulge in, I try to get to a higher dark chocolate, which makes it more bitter and also has less sugar. But I tend to eat European brand chocolates, not North American chocolate, because it is made with more natural ingredients for sure, whole food type of ingredients. And also with salads and salad dressings, making your own salad dressing from scratch. What I use regularly on salad, I'm a huge tzatziki sauce fan. I love tzatziki sauce because, of course, we all know it's basically yogurt and garlic. And that is a really great way to just add as a salad dressing to your salad instead of your standard apple vinegar and a really good quality olive oil. Yeah,
Delicious.
olive oil is an important thing to look at too, because a lot of olive oils are also super processed.
Hmm.
And all right, so let's
Absolutely. Check your labels. Yeah, that was a good
yeah,
suggestion.
yeah, check your labels for sure. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. Should I eat low carb, keto, carnivore, or plant-based?
I bet
There's
you
a
can
Yeah,
guess.
there's a lot of talk about different diets out there. So what do you suggest?
Yeah, so I bet you can guess my answer based on my last response, but you really have to do what works best for you and your body and your goals. If low carb or keto or carnivore feel really good to you and you have great energy and your muscles feel good and you feel just ready to tackle the day, then go for it. Some people love to eat whole food plant-based. So it just really, depends on the way that your body responds to the food that you're eating. Notice in all those dietary types, the focus is on real whole food, right? So that's really the most important thing. And there's no one size fits all answer, and just experiment with the different types. I thought that I was taught with my bariatric journey to eat on the lower carb side, but I actually feel better when I add in more plants and vegetables. And I think it has to do with the fiber in my digestion. So I just try to have I have an omnivore kind of view right now. I eat all the things and try to be as well balanced as possible.
Omnivore. Learning all these new words. That's a new word for me. I'm a meat potatoes kind of girl, but I don't do the potatoes. Like last night, for example, I had grilled chicken and I fried up some mushrooms with zucchini. And that
I was
was
going
my
to say, I've
dinner.
seen a lot of your plates lately, Wendy, and you have you say meat and potatoes, but you have a lot of veggies on your plate.
I don't
So,
eat potatoes very much anymore. I have the odd potato if I'm having a really, really good porterhouse steak or something like that. I feel like it needs to be accompanied by a potato. Yeah, I mean, I just because I eat a lot of fruit in the morning. There's a lot of carbs in fruit, but the meat, I am a meat carnivore kind of person, and I feel more full. And that's another thing as a bariatric patient that we both experienced. I feel way more full when I eat full protein. When I eat chicken, pork, or beef, I get full faster. And I know that it takes a longer time to digest compared to any other thing that has protein. Like yesterday, I also had for a snack, I had celery with hummus. And hummus
mhm.
just goes straight through you. There's nothing that makes you feel full when you eat hummus, right?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe because it's the way that it's processed in the food processor, like blended. But because I get pretty full if I eat whole beans, like whole black beans or chickpeas. But yeah, everybody's different, right? So you have to find what works for you.
Yep, exactly. All right, we'll move on to the next question. How much should I be eating? Should I count calories, macros? What do you think? What do you do? I still track on my app, my macros.
Yeah, so I was going to say enter some suspenseful music because Wendy and I disagree on this. And it's not about disagreeing, though. It's just about whatever works for you. So Wendy likes to make sure she's getting in a certain amount of protein or even calories, right? I am from the school of thought that thankfully, intermittent fasting is like true freedom. You don't need to count calories. You don't need to count macros. I know that we're programmed to focus on our protein requirements, and you should focus on protein at every meal or every time you're eating during your eating window. It is an important part of your diet. But if counting all of those macros isn't in your wheelhouse, if you don't like to do it, you don't have to do it. But I support you either way.
Well, and of course, I'm still in the, let's say, beginners or experimental stage because I must admit that I've been very frustrated because I've had like a 2 week plateau that my scale has gone up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. It's been driving me nuts. And I just every time think about what Alison says and what Jen says, that's going to happen in your first 28 days. Don't track it too much. Don't pay any attention because your body is getting used to being in a fasting state and your hormones are all going, what the hell is going on? Why aren't you feeding us? And so I don't know. So this morning on the scale, it finally went down. It was like, okay, All right. Because I was getting desperate. I was thinking, oh my God, do I have to change my fasting routine to the 24-hour fasting like I did in the first 2 weeks? Or I don't know.
No, we have to kind of, like you said, you're in your, did you finish your first month or you're still in your first four
No, I'm
weeks?
still in my first 28 days.
Yeah, you have to just trust the process and you don't want to over restrict. And you went from one protocol, a little bit longer fast to a little bit shorter. So, yes, you have to settle in, give your hormones a chance to recalibrate, balance out. With intermittent fasting, basically, you're in that fat burning mode towards the end of every daily fast. And you just have to play with, what works for you, but you can't change your protocol too quickly because then you're going to end up over restricting later and it will backfire on you. So
Hmm.
take your time, trust the process. Really, you never even really did an 8 hour window, eating window. So the 5 is going to be adequate, I'm sure, but just give it
Hmm.
time. And I'm glad you saw results this morning finally.
Finally, yes. So it was like a breath of fresh air. It's like I was about to take the scale and just throw it off my balcony from the 18th floor here in downtown Toronto. No, I would never do that. But it was just,
I know it's so common. We get so frustrated. We want quick results. That's how we're programmed,
yeah.
especially, at our age, we want that quick diet, that fast weight loss. And intermittent fasting works like an opposite way. It's very slow to start in that beginning 4 to 6 weeks. And then it really ramps up after once your body's like, oh, yeah, no, I can do this. I can do this fat burning every day for a certain amount of hours. And we still only want to lose a half a pound to a pound a week because we want it to be permanent. We want this goal lifestyle where it's sustainable. So we
Hmm.
don't want to over restrict.
And I must admit, sorry for coughing there. I must admit, I love your mug, by the way. Very colorful.
Oh, yes. My
Very
love is love on the inside. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, pride. Go. Woohoo. Whoa, pride. That lately I don't feel hungry anymore in the morning. Because in the beginning, when I first started this, by hour 20, I was like, "Oh my God, I have to eat. I have to eat. I have to." I was looking at the clock, looking at my watch, like, when is this over? But now I don't have that. Now it goes back and it goes by very fast. And I must admit, I do a lot of work in the morning
Mhm.
between, like, I'm up every day about 6 a.m. And from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., I am packed with all these projects that I'm doing and keep myself busy. And usually it's nicer weather in the afternoon anyway. So that's when I read a book or take the dog for a walk, go to the park and just relax. And it's me time. And I
Mhm.
can go out and, I have a lunch and then later on I come home and at 6 o'clock, I have my dinner, and then I watch the news. And then at 7 o'clock, the window closes. I have to make
Mhm.
a window closing sound. Slam.
Slam it.
All
Slam
right,
it
let's
shut.
move. Yeah, slam that window shut. I must admit, I mean, the thing that I find so easy about intermittent fasting compared to the millions and gazillions of other diets that I've done, because this is, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, not a diet, it's a lifestyle change, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that you don't have to prepare or anything. You just think, okay, the window's closed, I can't eat anymore. That's it. I
Mm.
can't eat anymore.
But
I'm done and can't have a snack. Can't go to I mean, I go out. It used to be that I would go out at night and I'd magically find myself at a convenience store and buy a bag of chips or buy a chocolate bar or something. But now, because it's this psychological lock at 7 o'clock, it's like a big lock that sort of I have to have sound effects or like
yeah, yeah.
a big lock dropping in front of my image. And by the way, my podcast is on our podcast is on all platforms and also on YouTube. You can see us and be silly, see our silliness or my silliness anyway. And anyway, I'm getting off track because oh yes, I was saying that I find it easy to know that the window's closed. Like, that's enough. It's like, telling your dog or your kids, that's enough. Sit down.
Yep. You ate in your window and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Done, And then you think, oh, I should have had. Oh, no, I'll have that tomorrow.
Yeah. Delay, don't deny. Put it on your
Yeah.
list for
Put on
tomorrow.
your list for tomorrow. Let's see. Did we talk about protein yet? How do I know if I'm getting enough protein?
We need to talk a little bit about protein because even though we talked about what to eat and all those good things, people are still talking about protein. There's so much discussion. Any social media platform you're going to see, you know, get this much protein, do that, count this much, track, just like you do, which is fine. But we need to eat to satiety and we need to include protein at every meal. And then remember that intermittent fasting increases human growth hormone. So that's going to help you with building and repairing muscle. And also, IF promotes autophagy, which we talked about on the last episode, episode 9. Autophagy allows your body to recycle and reuse old junky proteins. So you're actually, your body is giving you enough protein almost from the inside out, obviously, in addition to what you're eating every day. So I don't think there needs to be as much concern as, we almost feel like alarmist about it, right? Like eat more, get, have a longer eating window. But I think we can relax into the process a little bit. If you feel good again, like I said before, if you feel good, if you have lots of energy, you don't need to be too concerned.
Yeah. It sounds like you need to take a sip of water. Your voice is all cracky.
My morning voice. Sorry.
Your morning voice. Woo, morning voice. All right. So, this is something that I wanted to talk about. Can I exercise in a fasted state? Let's hear, and then I'll tell you what I did this week at the gym.
All right. So many people report that they really feel the best when they're exercising in the fasted state. So I want to encourage you to, like Wendy said, she needs to keep busy in the morning. She's waiting for her window to open. Do your exercise then. Kind of keeps hunger at bay a little bit. Most people feel very high energy in the morning when they're fasting or in later morning. Well, it depends on when your window is, right? If you're having a morning eating window, then exercise later in the day. But I think you get what I'm talking about. Most people feel the best exercising in the fasted state. Now, if you're like an elite athlete, if you're doing heavy lifting, work with your trainer, your dietitian, or your doctor to set up a program. You might want to be exercising during your eating window to kind of maximize your output. Again, everyone's different, but stay hydrated and do what makes you feel good. If it doesn't feel good, switch it up.
So what about electrolytes?
I am a fan of electrolytes because personally, if I'm fasting consistently, I do get a little bit crampy here and there. I find that electrolytes do give me a little bit more energy. Instead of adding more caffeine or another cup of coffee, sometimes I'll do unflavored electrolytes. So they sell electrolytes on Amazon. Concentrace is a good brand. You can just put some drops of them in your water.
Okay.
People talk about Element, LMNT, unflavored. During the fast, obviously, they have flavored for your eating window. I haven't tried them, but I heard that they're good and highly recommended. So I do like using electrolytes on a daily basis.
I think I'm going to put a link in the description area of the podcast about the electrolytes and where you can get it on Amazon, because this is new to me. I didn't know that you can take electrolytes, because of course you can't drink anything like Gatorade or anything like that while you're fasting.
And when you're fasting consistently and if you are in an active weight loss phase, you are going to be losing a lot of fluid, especially if you're on a lower carb diet. So when you lose fluids, you're going to be lower in sodium, potassium, magnesium, things like that. So it's always good to have a little bit of electrolytes with your water. Excessive water can dilute your electrolytes even further in your body. So yeah, it's not a bad idea to add them.
Yeah, because that's something I heard about. Like, you can also drink too much water.
Absolutely.
I actually don't know how much I'm supposed to drink, and I should honestly ask. Maybe but everybody's different. Is water based on your weight, your water intake, your height, your age? How do you know how much water you're supposed to drink?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a golden rule out there that's like drink half your body weight in ounces per day, which is a lot. Use that as a guide, but go on what feels good to you. And, you don't want to be drinking excessive amounts of water if it's not comfortable for you, or if you've had sleeve or, bypass, whatever your bariatric surgery history is. But yeah, they say half your body weight in ounces per day.
How much, because we're a metric here in Canada, and
oh my.
So I drink 2 liters of water a day. I don't like. Here's my bottle here. I'll show that this is a liter. So I drink 2 of these a day.
I think you're almost there. If you could increase it a little bit. A
Okay.
little bit. I'll have to do a liter to ounce conversion, maybe in time for our next podcast,
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's
Yeah,
always a
or
little more than you think.
actually, I can just put it on the screen after I edit this, and I'll just say this amount of ounces equals this amount of milliliters, because we're milliliters. We don't go by
Milliliters.
ounces. Yeah, so I was at the gym this week, back again, working hard. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I did too much lower body workout, and I really was suffering my legs yesterday. I couldn't really stand up very well. I just overdid it. I just did too much leg stuff. But it's a great way to just get rid of an hour or an hour and a half of time in your fasting window. And I tend to listen to podcasts when I'm working out, but I also listen to inspiring music. Like recently, a good friend of mine who plays fourth horn in the Berlin Philharmonic over in Germany, she recorded a brand new album. Might as well plug her album here too. That's called Sarabanda, and she is playing with this fabulous Cuban group, and it's Cuban music with the French horn. And you would
Wow.
never know how fantastic this sounds. I was literally dancing in the gym, and I was getting some looks from people around me. I was like, "What is she doing?" Here's this senior citizen bopping around on doing her weight training or whatever. But it was fun. You can't sit still, and the key is to have some great music to work out to, or create a list of songs that you want to work out to and share it with us. You know, that's also fun. And also, I forgot to mention with the eating part, I tend to take pictures of my meals and post them on the Regain Remedy Facebook page as an inspiration. Like we're all artists, and we can all do food art and send a picture of, you know, an example of what you've been eating, because sometimes it's really hard to be inspired and to figure out what the heck am I going to eat tonight, you know?
I love when you share your meals.
And I try to make my meals look as colorful as possible, and try to take the picture to make it look like it can be in a culinary magazine. If your food is appealing looking, it also helps with the inspiration to make sure that you're eating something that is delicious and healthy and just looks fabulous. I think that's really important. And yeah, going to the gym, I go to Planet Fitness, and just down the street here from my place here in downtown Toronto. And I go between like 11 and 1. 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. because it's not really busy. It's probably going to be busy today because it's Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I
you're
was
in
going
the
to say
week.
you're retired.
I am
I want to be you when I grow up. I can't
Well,
wait.
I don't. When I grow up, when I grow up, the thing is that I am more busy than ever when I was working and not retired. I'm way busier now, but the stuff that I'm doing now is the stuff that I want to do, as opposed to working is just basically, yeah, you gotta pay the bills, right?
Absolutely.
Gotta
Yep.
pay the bills. All right, let's move on to the next question. Can I take medications while fasting? That's a biggie, because I do take medications myself as well.
Yeah, you always have to take prescribed medication as directed by your doctor, healthcare practitioner, whoever's giving it to you. Some medications need to be taken with food and some do not. So you want to check in with your doctor on this. That's very important. If they really suggest that you're taking your medicine with food, and say it's like twice a day, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., and you're having trouble fitting your medication in your eating window because of the way it's prescribed, you can try putting some chia seeds in water, let them sit a little bit, and you can take your medication with that. Kind of like it becomes like a gel consistency. You could try some bites of avocado or cream. There's like a little, it's all about like a little low carb oily bite that you can take with your medication to help minimize any insulin response. But you might be surprised. Your doctor might say, sure, you can just, you don't have to take it first thing in the morning. You can take it with food during your eating window, but you definitely want to check in with them.
Yeah, because if it's a medication that you're taking that helps you get through the whole day, you may have to take it first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next question is, why am I having trouble sleeping? Now, I have this issue as well.
Yeah, so trouble sleeping occurs a lot at the beginning of our intermittent fasting journey, and it does actually improve over time. So, kind of hang in there. What's happening is your body is learning how to burn this stored fat, and you're producing ketones, which is like a very high energy compound in your body, and your brain is learning how to deal with all of that. So, it should resolve within a week or so. If it continues, you want to play with your window timing. Maybe you need food a little bit closer to bed, so you want to push back your eating window. Maybe you need to move up your eating window. So again, it's very individual for everyone, but magnesium helps at bedtime if you're really struggling. There's magnesium glycinate. There's so many different types of magnesium, but the glycinate is the one that is a muscle relaxant and can help at night. Plenty of fluids and playing with the time of your eating window all seems to help.
I don't really have a problem falling asleep. I have a problem when I wake up at 5 a.m. and I can't fall back to a sleep. Do you have any suggestions with that, or why would that be?
I struggle with this as well. And I've played with a few different things and experimented. We're all an experiment of one, right? So what works for me might not work for you. But I have a suspicion that with consistent fasting, I mean, I've been doing it for many, many years now, but with consistent fasting, I think I need less sleep. So I'm again programmed to be thinking that I need more than 8 hours, like 9 or 10, but really it's only 6 or 7 hours. Excuse me, because I've been sleeping or waking up like you around 4 or 5 a.m., a little bit earlier than my alarm is set. And I'll immediately think like, oh, no, it's going to be like an awful day. I'm going to be tired, but I never get tired. I have an hour commute twice a day. And that afternoon, I leave school at 2:45, 3 p.m. Normally, I'd be half asleep, right, before fasting. That'd be my afternoon slump. I don't get tired. I don't get the afternoon slump. I have more energy. And I just think with fasting, you don't need as much sleep.
And it used to be that I would fall asleep in the afternoon when I was not doing this, and I would be sitting on the couch around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I nod off. Now I do nod off now after I've eaten dinner. I sort of nod off then, but that's because your body is busy working on digesting the food, and
Absolutely.
so you sort of feel sleepy. But lately, I've started reading a wonderful book, and I'll have to share that with everybody. I highly recommend it. It's called Want, and it's a great book for women to read in bed. That's all I'm going to say about it. And but like I said, I never have a problem falling asleep. It's just waking up at 5 o'clock. I thought, oh my God. And it starts with going to the bathroom, and I look at the clock and I think, okay, I'm going to go back to bed and then turn off the light, and then I'm going to try and sleep again. And I can't. I just can't sleep. I'm like wide awake. And my brain starts, I have to do this today. I have to do that. Don't forget to do this. And don't forget, oh, yeah, I have to do that again. And everything is like my brain starts churning, and I just can't fall asleep anymore. And I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I only need 6 or 7 hours sleep. And because I'm going to bed recently, I've been going to bed about 9 o'clock, but then I end up reading for about an hour. So I'm actually falling asleep at about 10:30, 10 o'clock, and waking up around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So I'm getting 6 or 7 hours basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a 10 to 5 is 7 solid hours and might be all you need.
All right, so why am I having an upset stomach since I started fasting? Writes in one of your followers on the Regain Remedy on Facebook. Everybody
Yeah.
should please join. You don't have to be intermittent fasting. You just can join for information. But yeah, and don't forget to buy your book too.
Yeah.
We'll do the plugs at the end. But anyway,
All right.
her
Sounds
book
good.
is right there on the music stand behind me, the Regain Remedy. So yeah, one of your followers or members of the Facebook group asked, "Why am I having an upset stomach since I started fasting?"
Yeah, this is a really popular question, but when we're giving our body all that metabolic rest and we're having that period of fasting, sometimes our digestive system is a little surprised when we start eating in our eating window. Again, this does usually go away after the first week or two. If not, just take a look at what you're breaking your fast with. Maybe have a little bit of broth, something light to start, and then wait a half hour to an hour, and then you can have your meal. Some people just find opening with any kind of snack is more helpful than opening with a meal. At this point in my journey, I can open with whatever I like. So again, it does go away usually, so you don't need to really worry too much, but it is common, and just knowing that sometimes is helpful.
Yeah, yeah. I actually was texting Alison yesterday about the fact that I felt really sick to my stomach yesterday. And it was just like, why do I feel like I'm going to bring up? I feel really, really sick to my stomach. And it was during my open window. That happened during the window that it was open. And I was feeling like, I was feeling a bit off. And at one point it went away, but in the afternoon, I had, what did I have for breakfast or for lunch or brunch or munch or whatever you want to call it? My 2 o'clock window. I had, what did I have yesterday? I had fruit and high protein yogurt with a bit of bran buds, because I do have to get I do have to drop off the kids at the big white telephone every now and then. And I lived in Amsterdam. I have to share a really funny story, because in Amsterdam, Dutch people are obsessed with their toilets. I don't know what it is, but when you go into a Dutch toilet, first of all, you know the person is Dutch if they have a calendar on the back of their door. And on the calendar is just names of people. And those are the birth dates. So when you are dropping your kids off at the pool, or you're coughing your groceries out of your hips, you can see, oh, tomorrow is so-and-so's birthday on the birthday calendar. That is a very Dutch thing. And there's actually a very funny book calling The Dutch Touch or Going Dutch or something, written by a guy from Ireland who lived in Holland for a few years. And he has a whole chapter just on the toilets, on the bathrooms, that people hang up crazy pictures or have a postcard collection or everything that you've never seen. It's so much fun. You don't need a book, or you don't need your phone when you're in a Dutch bathroom. So anyways, yeah, they have lots of funny sayings about I have to drop off my groceries in the big white telephone or something silly like that. But anyway, bran buds, I do take some bran, because my medication unfortunately does give me constipation. And dun dun dun, you don't want to be worrying about hemorrhoids and, oh my God, TMI. Anyway, it's so upset stomach. And then later on, after a while, I went to the dog park and I had some hummus with some celery sticks, and all of a sudden my upset stomach was gone. So I think it was, I don't know, you just don't know, but you're certainly much more aware of your body while you're fasting too, which is interesting. Like right now I have this weird sort of dry mouth that is kind of sticky and tacky, and I keep on taking sips of my carbonated water. And carbonated water, by the way, makes you feel a little bit fuller than plain water. Sort of gives you a feeling like, oh, I'm actually having something that's fulfilling. So I do highly recommend getting a Soda Stream, and they're really cheap on Amazon right now. Anyway, in Canada, they're only $99. Oh, wow. Anyways, great. So we're going to move on to some bonus topics now. This has been really fun. What do you think, Alison? I think we're just chugging along here.
Yeah, it's like a rapid fire, most popular rapid fire questions. But yeah, all good topics.
Yeah. So we have some bonus topics that we're going to talk about. Nutrient-dense foods, and starting with veggies and protein. And, I do hear a lot about the importance of nutrient-dense foods, especially when breaking a fast. And so can you share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, sorry about the voice. I don't know. It is that morning thing, and it probably is some of the ketosis, right? Being in the fasted state. But anyway, I'll do the best that I can. My hot water has gone cool, so it's not working as well. But anyway, after you're fasting, your body is really primed to absorb nutrients. So opening your window again with nutrient-dense foods is going to be really important. So lean proteins, vegetables. If your stomach hurts, like we just discussed, start with broth or something light and then have like a good meal. If you start this way, you're going to set yourself up for a great eating window where you're going to stabilize your blood sugar, you're going to feel good, and your body's going to be able to absorb all the nutrients that it needs.
That's a great idea because I actually have a cupboard full of soup and I love Dutch soup. I grew up on Dutch soup, pea soup, Dutch pea, split pea soup that my mom would make in the winter months, and then vegetable soup. They're all, they were like staples in our diet to have like, and by the way, I grew up on kale. Every Dutch person in the world has eaten kale. Like I grew up on kale, and we have this thing that's called stampot. And for all you Dutch listeners, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Stampot is a mixture of kale and potatoes. And you smash the potatoes and they put the kale together, and then you put like a mountain of kale stampot on your plate, and then you add a bit of gravy on the top. And you have that with a Dutch smoked sausage. And like I said, you know, when you think about the potato eaters painting from, is it Rembrandt or Van Gogh? No, it was Rembrandt. The potato eaters painting. Yeah, Dutch people eat a lot of potatoes. When you go to Amsterdam or you go to Holland, if anybody of our listeners have ever been to Amsterdam, there are French fry places everywhere. It's called patat. And the same with Belgium. And the very famous ingredient that you put on your French fries in Holland is mayonnaise. So it's called patat met.
Really?
Yeah, you put mayonnaise on your French fries. Unlike the British who put vinegar, Canadians do too, vinegar on their French fries. But yeah, ketchup is, you know, by the way, ketchup, I discovered there is a Canadian ketchup, Canadian brand called French's, and there's no sugar.
Perfect. Good.
Yeah, no sugar in ketchup. Ketchup has like 3 or 4 spoons of sugar in it.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
To make sure you read the labels of your condiments, because your condiments are packed with sugar. That's something, you know, label reading is very, very important. You don't want to have any extra sugar or any kind of super, super highly refined or highly fake food that you're going to be eating. And so that's I keep on getting sidetracked, but anyway, that's good. I have some extra information about stampot and kale and soup. Start to open your window with soup, and I will do that today actually because I miss soup, and now that we're getting into the fall, I associate the fall weather with soup. You know, I love French onion soup, by the way. French onion soup with the cheese on the top, au gratin, and you have that with the bread, the piece of French bread, and you put that in the oven, and that's just a meal in its own. It's great.
It's so delicious.
French onion soup. Oh my God, that's delicious. I'm getting hungry already. All right, so let's move on to another bonus question. I hope everybody's enjoying this and you haven't turned us off yet and moved on to another one, but we'll just do whatever. All right, so exercise and moving your body. So before we wrap up for today, let's touch a bit on exercise. One of your listeners asked, how important is moving your body while fasting?
Yeah, so moving your body or exercising is so important, not just for weight loss, but for overall health. So whether you're fasting or not, daily exercise is really going to be beneficial to you. I'm not a huge exerciser, but I really try to keep it, you know, I put like reminders in my phone, you know, take a walk, even if it's like 3 10-minute walks, or some weight training, some resistance exercise as you're getting older. That's going to help your body kind of hold on to the lean muscle tissue. And it could be really anything that you love, any exercise that you love, you're going to do consistently. And it's good for heart health. It's good for your muscles. It's good for your metabolic rate and all of that. So definitely try to incorporate that if you can.
And don't forget swimming. And don't forget, what do you call it? Oh my God, when you're swimming to music in a class, what's it called? Aquafit. That's a lot of fun.
Sounds fun.
It is fun. And that's the key. If you want to incorporate any kind of exercise, I found you have to do something that is fun. Mm-hmm. And that will keep it up. And as you mentioned, because I'm old now, I'm 65 years old. I'm a senior citizen. And I am trying to do a lot more strength training because Just yesterday, I was putting away some plates in the cupboard, and I couldn't like lift. There was a stack of plates, and I couldn't lift it because I didn't have the power in my arms. And I thought, see, that's why you have to work out. You know, it's the same thing if you want to go over and hug your kids or your grandkids and pick them up or do something or pick up your dog. If you can't pick them up, then you got to do some more strength training and, you know, build those muscles. And the other thing is, muscles. Speaking of muscles, talk about muscles and fasting. What happens?
Well, fasting, again, like I mentioned before, fasting increases human growth hormone, which increases, you can actually, just by fasting alone, increase your lean muscle tissue.
Did you hear that, folks? Say that again, Alison. You can.
You can increase your lean muscle tissue with intermittent fasting alone.
Okay, so again, going back to the example I give for The Biggest Loser. Everybody that took part in The Biggest Loser have regained their weight. And everybody that took part in The Biggest Loser lost muscle mass. Even though they were working out, but they were doing a lot of cardio, but they were working out so much that they lost, yes, they lost fat, but they lost muscle mass. And when you're intermittent fasting, you're eating your fat. Yum, 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 yum. I have to have a little image of a fat cell on the video here. Your body's eating the fat, and you're retaining or building your muscle mass, which is incredible. You know,
it's amazing.
So it's really a super duper way and healthy way to continue with your lifestyle and to turn it into a healthier lifestyle, because in fact, we actually eat too much. We really do. We really do. So, Alison, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today? We had a great deep dive into these questions, these great questions. Was there anything, what would you like to do like for next week? And we also have to plug our books and our Facebook group, your Facebook group.
My Facebook group is such a wonderful community. It's really growing every day, and it is like the title of my book, The Regain Remedy. So join us over there. Everyone's so kind, so supportive. We're all there to help each other. Most of us have had bariatric surgery and we're trying to do this new lifestyle, but some of us haven't. So come on over and join us at the Facebook group. And if you want everything that we talked about in one place and more, go ahead and buy a copy of my book, The Regain Remedy. It's short, easy read, and it will definitely help you get started and stay on your journey in the healthiest way possible.
Yeah, and also don't forget, I have also written a children's book. Actually, it was originally a chapter in my book that I've been writing for the last, there's the book now. Wendy Rides an Elephant. It's an so actual true story.
It's adorable.
And my sister recently found the home movie of me riding the elephant that my father filmed at here in downtown. We have a thing that's called the Canadian National Exhibition, and the Barnum and Bailey Circus was there many years ago with their elephants and tigers, and circuses, thank God, don't have live animals anymore. But this was the 60s and 70s. And so I wrote this children's book. I thought that this chapter was
just adorable.
So did you,
the pictures are so cute.
And there I am riding an elephant with the CN Tower in the background.
Yeah.
Now, just note, ladies and gentlemen, there was no CN Tower in the 70s. That the CN Tower I put in so that people would recognize, oh, that's Toronto. That's a book about a girl in Toronto. But there was not yet a CN Tower.
I didn't know that.
So anyways, so what are we in for in the next time that we meet?
Yeah, we have so much to talk about. More questions. Questions are coming in every day. Lots of topics to talk about.
That's great. Well, I really enjoy this. I think this is a great platform, and I'm hoping that a lot of people really enjoy this, and send in your questions and comments and let us know what you want us to talk about, because I think it's a great, like I said before, a great yin and yang that, you know, you have the experience of intermittent fasting for a good 3 years now, and me a good 3 weeks. So it's a really good example of someone who starts, what's it like to start doing this, and what's it like to be ongoing and having this part of your lifestyle for 3 years and going strong. And do you have anybody else in your life that is also practicing intermittent fasting? Oh
yeah, my sister, my aunt, my wife perfect as she does, but we got to rein her in a little bit. We could talk about that next episode, but yeah, lots of people do it, and millions of you have had bariatric surgery. If you haven't had it yourself, someone that has. If they are struggling with regain, have them join us. It's so helpful.
Yeah, it's very, very helpful. Like I said before, it's actually easy. You don't have to think about it. You're just like, oh my God, I have to count all these calories and the protein and how much carbs are in here and how much. I'm just doing that right now because I just want to make sure, I'm not going like crazy and just having only carbs and no protein. But it's a balance. It's a balance. And also trying to figure out what my body and how my body reacts to what I'm eating at the beginning. And then you sort of find the secret sauce, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, this has been great. So please hit the subscribe button, everybody. And we hope to see you next time. And we're going to be back for sure soon again. Have a great day, everybody. And don't forget to send in your questions, your comments, and like us or whatever. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time, Wendy. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.